What's going on, warriors? We're gonna dive in. We're gonna talk about a really underrated topic when it comes to controlling the blood sugars and getting rid of fluctuations. Doesn't get talked about enough, so you know what we're gonna do here on this channel? We're gonna talk about it. So we're gonna dive deep over here today. Adrenaline, cortisol, two hormones that are part of your stress response of your body, which can lead you to run a roller coaster all day without even realizing what's going on. So we're gonna dive into that today, and we're just gonna make sure we can set you up with the best possible blood sugars, because that's also gonna impact the goals you have with fat burning, weight loss, muscle development. If it's your first time on the channel, guys, I'm a type 1 diabetic fitness coach. I've been a type 1 diabetic for over 26 years, and I help diabetics to build muscle, to burn fat, and to manage their blood sugar levels. I also do lifestyle videos, vlog style videos, supplement reviews. So if you like those, make sure you guys smash the subscribe button down below, hit that bell notification so you guys don't miss out, and just hit the like button if you guys like this. Oh, and share this with somebody that could benefit from a video like this. You might be somebody who maybe has a stressful event at work, or maybe there's something that's due on a paper that you have for school. The dog just took a shit on the floor and it's stressing you out. The kids are running everywhere. Doesn't matter what it is, the body's stress response, whether it's physiological and you're working out or the dog shit on the floor, is still gonna produce the same stress response from your body. Now, a non-diabetic might not notice this, might not see anything happen in their body blood sugar wise, but for us as type 1 diabetics, we're gonna notice more of a blood sugar spike as a result. It's important for us to understand what to look for during these spikes, because this is gonna allow us to get ahead of these spikes before they get out of control. Let's just dive a little deeper first on adrenaline and cortisol. These are the main hormones that are gonna be responsible for spiking your blood sugar levels when you are stressed out. Adrenaline getting released, that's gonna happen in a few seconds to a few minutes. You can even reach a peak of that adrenaline. The impact of that adrenaline in connection to the stressor is what's gonna cause the blood sugar levels to spike very rapidly. But it can also last in your system for up to an hour before it kind of tapers off and goes away. You start noticing your blood sugar and it's normal, and all of a sudden it's starting to climb. So you're going maybe from 100 mgdl to 10 mgdl to 20 mgdl, 30 mgdl in 15 minutes. That's a good sign if you spike 30 mgdl in about 10 minutes, and you've also paired that spike with a stressful event that just happened. And that's key, pairing that spike with a stressful event outside of just having a meal. Now you know we can attribute that more or less to adrenaline because of the stress response in the body. Adrenaline, responsible part of the sympathetic nervous system, which naturally release this, whether you're running from a saber-toothed tiger or we're having the issue with the dog shitting on the floor. Now you have to also understand glucose release. Adrenaline is responsible for glycogenolysis mainly. So it's gonna kick in, it's gonna release glucose immediately just to help to give your body energy, because it's assuming that you need that energy because of the stressful event. Doesn't care if it's psychological or physiological, it's going to release more glucose into your system instantaneously. So we're talking about, again, the first 2 to 3 minutes can reach its peak, so it's max strength in your system before it starts to wean off. It can also increase what's called gluconeogenesis. It can help to take other components in your body and convert those into glucose at the liver. So think about amino acids. There's certain amino acids that we'll cover in another video that can convert to glucose, which is also elevating your blood sugar level. So this is why when you see that quick, sharp spike with what you're doing, you can attribute that to adrenaline in connection to the stress you're going through currently. And we'll touch on why that's important so you can know how to dose effectively for that. Also, we got to think cortisol. Cortisol works in tandem with the stress response. Even though it's not directly part of the sympathetic nervous system, it's part of your HPA axis, or your hypothalamus pituitary adrenal axis. So now you got your cortisol over here. Cortisol is a lot slower. So you're not going to see that rapid spike in cortisol. It's going to start increasing slowly over minutes, and then it can drag out for hours. You also need to long lasting. Hours versus under an hour, minutes, it's out of your system in terms of adrenaline. Cortisol is not responsible for glycogenolysis, the breakdown of glucose. Where it kicks in is increasing more resistance in your system. From an evolutionary standpoint, you're running from a saber-toothed tiger. You need energy in the brain to say, let's get the fuck out of here. And so now you've got adrenaline that's increasing and cortisol's keeping it elevated. So adrenaline is increasing immediate. Cortisol helps to keep that glucose in your system a little bit longer. When we think about adrenaline as well, key point is not only does it break down glucose, but it can also break down fats into fatty acids, which they get released in your system. Now, the more fatty acids you have in your system, the more you become more resistant to the insulin you're using as well. Your blood sugar might be more stubborn in terms of bringing it down. So if you're dosed, I'm not coming down here, but you could trace it back. You're like, I was a little stressed during that situation right there. You might have that delayed cortisol that's in your system. It's impacting how well the insulin's working. And cortisol can also increase gluconeogenesis as well. So creating glucose from amino acids, lactate, glycerol as well. So how do we control the blood sugars when these scenarios happen? What I also want to keep in mind that's important is everyone's going to have maybe a slightly different response. So it's important to backtrack and note, like, how much do I typically notice I spike in a stressful event or scenario? But this is a good starting point that you could look at to know that, adrenaline's in my system, we're about to go high. You might notice that you're spiking 30 to 60 mgdl here, and that happens within minutes to 30 minutes. You see a spike of 30 to 60 mgdl, really sharp, fast on your CGM, really good sign. And maybe you see double arrows up, even though sometimes the CGM can read wrong. But these are cues that you're looking at to say, adrenaline's kicking in, but so's cortisol. The adrenaline and cortisol are now going to work in tandem based on what I just said previously on the previous slide. So what we have to think is I'm already up 30 to 60 mgdl. So maybe our person went from 100 to now they're at 160, and we're talking they're getting ready for a job interview, and this is happening within 10 minutes to 30 minutes. That's a good sign that adrenaline is kicked in and the cortisol is going to keep it elevated. So even though you're up 30 to 60 mgdl, you might think, okay, I'm 160 now, I'm going to bolus for 160, or your pump is giving you a suggestion for a 60 mgdl spike. But also what you need to take into account is that cortisol keeping it elevated and the insulin not working as strong. And so and your body might still be releasing glucose, because even though the adrenaline's wearing off, you might still have some in your system and the cortisol's keeping it up. You might not actually be at 160, you might land closer to 220. So you have to consider, typically when that adrenaline's spiking, what I tend to see is about 100 mgdl spike if someone's very sensitive to their processes in their body, minimum about 100 mgdl. So especially if you've noticed this within the first 30 minutes. If you've noticed that I've spiked 60 mgdl in 30 minutes, you can almost bank. Like, I bet if you look back to what you're doing, that you're going to find that in an hour and a half, it's up to 250. If I've caught this at the 30-minute mark and I'm 60 mgdl up, I'm going to bank that I'm actually going to go up about 100 mgdl to start. So any cue stressful event, I'm up about 30 to 60 mgdl here in 5 to 30 minutes, and there's no meals on board and the stress event just happened, you could bank that you're going to go up 100 mgdl, not the 30 to 60. So you're going to bolus a correction for 100 mgdl, not the 30 to 60 that you see. Because if you wait till you're 250 or 220 or 200, now you're playing the huge roller coaster chase game. But if you can get ahead of it, you can land a little bit more in a more of a normal range and avoid these highs over time, which also has the impact of lowering the A1C over time as well. Go back and notice what you see. Like, maybe you notice that you spike about 150 mgdl most times if it's a stressful event, or you're only up 50. So keep that in mind. This is also what's called a tripwire. Let's say somebody is about 100 mgdl, right? And then the stressful event happens, and now all of a sudden they're going from 100 and they're up 60 mgdl. A tripwire could be something that triggers you to do something. So let's say 100, we know that our person, based on their previous patterns, goes from 100 mdl and they're up 60 mgdl in 30 minutes, and there's a stressful event. We know they're not just going to land at 60. They're going to land typically at 250. So they're going to go up about 150 mgdl. So instead of us just bolusing for that, that's our sign that we're just going to bolus a correction because of the tripwire we hit at 60 mgdl up within that 30 minutes. We're going to bolus for the 150 mgdl spike, not just the 60 mgdl spike of where they are. This way we can get ahead of the cortisol release that's also in the system that you don't see, the adrenaline that kicked up earlier but still weaning itself off, and this way we can get more control over it over time. We need to think about how do we also stop the issue from happening in the first place rather than just combating it at the end and getting ahead of the spikes. So we got to think, how do we control our mind? A lot of times, we don't think about how our mindset is important to control the blood sugars, but things like meditation, calming your mind, you're learning how to view thoughts that are happening and from more of a neutral standpoint. You kind of take more of the observer effect rather than you being ingrained within your body. And that can help you to view things in a way that keeps the body and the mind more controlled without having these emotions and thoughts run you down the line. If you think about it, many times it's the thought that happens of something or an event and what you're associating to it that then triggers the emotions in the body. So if you can observe those thoughts rather than reacting to them all the time, then you can better control your emotions, which then better controls the stress response in your body. So that's why meditation is key. And even if you start off with 5 to 10 minutes in the morning where you're just trying to clear your mind, I know people say, I can't do it. I can't do it. Yes, you can. You got to work at it like anything else, but yes, you can. And it's important. It's almost like fasting for the body, clearing the mind, spiritual fast, a mental fast, important for control. You're too wound up. If you can't do it, that also probably shows me that the sympathetic nervous system's tripped up because you're like nonstop, like you can't turn it off. Like that kind of highlights that we've got an issue. The other thing is breathing. Your deep breathing. Focus on if a stressful event happens, hold it 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Getting more oxygen into the system can help to calm the body down a little bit, dilate the blood vessels a little bit, make things a little bit more efficient for you, slow down that sympathetic nervous system from going haywire. Then we also want to think exercise. Even though during exercise, the stress response goes up, physiological stress, but it helps you in terms of how you manage stressors in the future. So your body can rebound quicker off of stress rather than it staying elevated. Think about it like having a meal and then you have a pre-bolus that's correct, so you come back down into normal ranges more efficient than the person that's trailing all the way off, and now they're dealing with stress for hours after, not even realizing that's what's causing the blood sugar to stay up. So exercising consistently helps how we manage and deal with stress over time. Also, we have to think, we talked about meditation, mindfulness. I'll just switch these two, sorry. So if we talk about mindfulness, just be mindful of what you're noticing. Be mindful of your thoughts. And when I mean be mindful of your thoughts, be mindful of honoring yourself through things. Like maybe there's certain things in your life right now that you're not necessarily honoring how you feel, the people that you hang out with, the foods that you're eating which are damaging your body or not taking care of yourself. Be mindful of what the actual cause is for a lot of things, because once you actually resolve those issues, things become a little bit better for you. Maybe you're thinking about getting a new job or not getting a new job. If you feel like being mindful, you understand what you need, then change can be powerful for yourself. So considering those things as well. Also being mindful of where your sugars are at, what's happening in the day. So a lot of times days can go by quick. Don't just run through the day and then we're wondering what's happening. Just think, how do I be mindful on what's actually happening to me in the moment? What did I feel good about today? Like what made me feel good? And if you can't find too many things, that's a sign it's time to change something. Yoga is also another great practice. Have you ever done yoga? Yoga consistently, but really embody yourself in that. But take these other components too to better fortify yourself that we talked about. Consider as well getting good sleep in. Nutrition is key. I hope that helped you guys out. If you guys need anything at all, if you have any questions, please drop them down below. Definitely make sure I get to them. I appreciate all you warriors who have supported me, who continue to support me, and who also, have become kind of like my family, my long distance family that we might not have seen each other or connected in person, but I know the struggles that you're going through, the same ones that I'm going through, and I feel connected to you in that. And I hope you guys are good, and anything you need, just shoot me a message. It's Coach Jay. Appreciate y'all.